collaboration. The eternal choice.
After leaving Konami, the question mark was raised: could Kojima and team continue the passion for pushing hardware and technology forward? A question they answered loud and clear with 2019's Death Stranding. Finding a perfect partner in PlayStation and Guerrilla Games with their Decima engine, the quality of that first game was phenomenal, proving to be a testament to the quality and ease of development that Decima engine brings. But over 5 years later, how have things improved? Does Death Stranding 2 on the beach push the engine to the next level? Both PS5 and PS5 Pro consoles offer dual modes, just as the Death Stranding Director's Cut did. Similar to Horizon Forbidden West, we see a native 4K 30fps quality mode for both consoles, which appears to utilise Decima's own TAA solution. This provides a sharp, clean and stable image 90% of the time on PS5 or PS5 Pro, with the high quality 4K assets, rugged terrain and stunning character models specifically during those real-time cinematics, of which we have no shortage, shine. Dynamic resolution scaling may be in use, but no signs were found in a selection of shots, and the image quality between the two machines is nigh on identical.
Well now, aren't you a sight for sore eyes?
The performance mode is where things differ more between them, with the base PS5 reducing resolution to 3200 by 1800 as a ceiling, 30% down from that 4K mode, whereas the PS5 Pro remains at 3840 by 2160, which then begs the question, why even have a 30fps mode? Well, all is not as it seems, as this mode looks to either utilise Decima's checkerboard upscaling TAA solution to reach those final output targets, or another form of TAAU along with a sharpening pass. Guerrilla's checkerboard is still one of the best upscalers in use today, and with some signs of image breakup and noise covered shortly, but in general this mode retains the lion's share of the IQ for a moderate reduction in clarity and stability. Now, dynamic resolution scaling does appear to be in use here on both. PS5 Pro seems to dip to a 1620p approximate low, while on base PS5 I found points as low as 2240 by 1260. Now, as is always the case with DRS, this may go lower, it could be the reconstruction technique breaking down, but the result is a game that manages to master cutbacks in raw pixels and final output well, enabling it to deliver a solid 16 milliseconds frame time, resulting in a 60 FPS frame rate. The PS5 also makes other small cuts to shadow resolution and filtering, level of detail into the distance and ambient occlusion, alongside depth of field being longer in cutscenes in its performance mode. These are reductions the PS5 Pro does not have to make. Some of this will be the same 4K output target, as most engines use resolution as a baseline for other effects, such as level of detail, texture sampling, geometry load among others, but the final image is slightly softer on the PS5 Pro over its 30fps quality mode. And all modes still suffer from sub-pixel shimmer on foliage and grass specifically, but also on thin edges, distant geometry and high frequency, high contrast views. Although still present in its 4K mode, it performs best in this mode. Now, shimmer and fizzle still occur, specifically under camera movement, but even static due to the jittered TAA. In the performance modes, the PS5 suffers the most, with a great deal more flicker and pixel shifting in and out of the final display grid, causing constant aliasing noise. The PS5 Pro's performance mode is much better, but still suffers more than the native 4K mode. However, the cost of this results in a very stable and smooth 60fps gameplay and cinematic experience throughout. Now, quality mode remains pretty close to locked 33 millisecond frame time. However, we do see some small bouts of frame time inconsistencies occur at points. Now, these mostly seem to be data streaming and memory related from my testing, and may be related to the aggressive frustum camera viewport culling the Decima engine deploys at all times to manage the huge triangle count it can push. You also get those held frames between shots on cutscenes, but also in cutscenes when new character models appear from the edge. This can cause a few frame time cadence spikes. Now, this also happens during fast travel and combat sections on both consoles, reinforcing this is not a simple GPU and or CPU issue, but more a data and code related area to refine. The sheer amount of physics could also be a factor in some of these areas. They are minor, and although the game fully supports variable rate refresh, only the performance mode runs at 120Hz, with the quality mode remaining within 60Hz refresh even with VRR. Now in reality, these are so minor that most would never notice, but I would expect patches to refine these small bouts of stutter, and like the other 90% of the tested sections, the mode would then remain locked throughout.
What a hit!
Performance mode is even better, even at 60Hz. The game is stable, as the refresh is targeting a more aggressive 16 millisecond frame time. Thus, when a frame is dropped, it only has to wait half the time to display a new one. As such, we see a game that never dips below 56 FPS in my tests on the base PS5 and a slightly higher level on the PS5 Pro. But we can still have some drop frames on both that are almost invisible in play and tend to come in sections during heavy camera movement, real-time cutscenes, or fast travel. It's even more on target than the quality mode, using the 4K 120 output mode. If you have the screen at least, these can hide these small dips even better, as it allows the engine to render the missing frame twice as fast as 60, meaning drop frames are presented at 25 milliseconds rather than 33, and a catch-up frame is presented at 8 milliseconds rather than 16, due to the 120Hz window refreshing every 8 milliseconds rather than 16 milliseconds. Now, although not a major boost or a game changer, as the game already runs very smoothly on both consoles, if you have a 120Hz panel, then this option does reduce those minor stutters as and when they occur. But even 60Hz players will enjoy a smooth, gorgeous and performant experience, and the real-time cutscenes look even better at 60 than 30. Death Stranding 2 is another massive, complex, gorgeous and technology-pushing game from the same engine and team. But it does not break as much new ground as the first, following the growing trend of iterative but still impressive updates. The key photogrammetry and physically based rendering they push forward within their own Fox engine in 2015's Metal Gear Solid 5, using their own studio they can scan full 3D images of rocks, walls, textures and people into their game engine. This is a vital part of what made Death Stranding so impressive. And with a new baseline of the PS5 rather than the PS4, the sequel raises that photorealistic bar even further with much higher textures and geometry. From the opening section, the material quality, accuracy and realism is borderline movie quality now. The barren rocks, rugged, ravaged landscape and clear blue skies, high sun and shallow shadows creates vistas that could be from a film. They go on for miles with no jarring popping, obvious low texture seams and game-like look. This carries over to the spread of fauna and foliage, buildings, vehicles, streams, forests and more that look organically grown rather than hand-placed. Likely using the seeded procedural terrain creation that the Decima engine has been designed for. Here though, it is clear that the landscapes, buildings and layout are inspired and built around realism first, with a strong and deliberate artistic aim. And with the physically based lighting the engine relies on, handcrafted here with the superb material scans and rendering methods from the team, delivers the best quality and consistency I have seen in a game of this scale and grandeur. The team have a consistent less is more approach, applied since the days of Metal Gear Solid 2. They balance textured details with albedo colours. They use simpler designs, limited colour schemes and backgrounds that are often clinical, medical or industrial when inside and during cutscenes. Outside is natural, rugged, organic, which favours more geometry and normal maps over high frequency composites and costly textures. Dynamic time of day, weather, man-made lights, moon and sun all pass, react and respond with stunning accuracy as light attenuates across surfaces, bounces off water bodies, metallic sheets or diffuses within rusty metal, muddy grounds or lab coats. All these assets are paired with excellent use of additional effects. Real-time lighting and cascaded shadow maps are mixed with screen space shadows and ambient occlusion, which alongside the atmospheric scattering is what makes the scale and view so realistic and seamless. A tiny rock miles away from your gaze still creates a shadow on itself. Trees or people still have global illumination, causing contact shadows from ambient light and direct shadows from the sun and GI bounce. Depth of field is used to enhance depth and focus. Fog volumes are used to enhance weather, be they sandstorm, smoke or more. Rain pours down, reducing visibility and creating light refraction into the middle distance accurately. Tone mapping is used to create big shifts during the time of day, weather and even interiors. Water runs down the camera with a soft blur and spiders crawl as they attack you. Slow motion mixed with high quality per pixel motion blur works to enhance both action but momentum, and works equally well in both the 30 and 60 FPS performance modes.
Good job, Sam. Disable the target. All right.
The digital actors are the other star of this show, and it's where the animation and motion cap team have really ramped up their game. The scans of the actors are incredible, and due to the aforementioned PBR materials, far higher texture quality, lighting and camera work, they now achieve movie levels throughout. Movement is still excellent, detailed and flamboyant, specifically in the inverse kinematics locomotion, momentum-based animation, cloth and material quality. But compared to the cutscenes, they are a rung or two lower for obvious reasons. Skin sports realistic pores, subsurface scattering, sweat, blood, dirt and other decals form on them with unnerving accuracy. Subtle mouth, eye and lip movement captures every nuance of the actors underneath due to the high bone rings they support, but physics and collision are on another level. Fat is simulated as the baby's cheeks shake and wobble with drool when laughing, the mouth wrinkles and contorts around the cigarette as Fragile takes a deep drag on it, a winged cat rubs its ears against a chair edge or paw and they bend and flick back with a physical accuracy not seen outside of most offline renderers. Cloth bounces and self-collides as characters move, arms and necks bend and fold with no clipping or blend shapes being obvious. Eyes blink, show depth, reflect light and character at all times and bring the story and people to life on a level rarely seen. The realism is enhanced with just those same post effects in-game. Fisheye lens, subtle faux chromatic aberration, fill lights and those materials again are all superb. Hair rendering is one aspect that is not at the same level. Using a mix of spline based hair and older card systems for cost means we still get a variety of styles and natural movement and self-occlusion compared to the previous games. They're a huge step up. But these things are all about balance, and compared to the other increases, hair has not improved at the level of the other aspects of the models and other more recent titles. Now eyes can, not always, but at times, look a little lifeless. They do not always self-occlude within the sockets or have the required parallax and specular present that is vital in making them appear real, and they can appear flat when they do. Specifically in Norman Reedus' character, his face, movement and even lack of emotion can reinforce the feeling that this is a cyborg AI designed to fool you that a human is behind those eyes. Now these are minor quibbles though, and understandable from the sheer balance the team have managed here to deliver such stunning, industry-shifting quality in real time, at 60 FPS no less, within the confines of a fixed hardware budget console in the PlayStation 5. The sheer quality, cinematography, visual splendor and style within is always a treat. Death Stranding delivers a game that looks and feels next generation, with a gigantic improvement over the previous game. From the photorealistic landscapes, dynamic lighting and weather, fluid simulation, physics, to the flamboyant and jaw-dropping real-time cutscenes, nothing here has been done with half measures. From the opening moments to the closing credits, you will go on a long, dramatic and technically stunning journey that continues the adventure of your favourite melancholic postman Pat. It pushes the Decima engine forward in new ways, mostly character rendering, physics and photorealism, and the fact that they have delivered this quality and performance on the base PS5 reinforces why Kojima Productions is still at the top of their game. And that's it for another deep dive into walking, physics and all things photorealism related. If you like everything we do here on IGN Performance Reviews, then keep it IGN, and we'll catch you on the next one.